They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
So we are going to go through, talk about some of our top centers that we are drafting in 2021. Of course, this is not just going to be the top 5 rankings list at the very top. We're going to go through, talk about the values that you can find throughout your entire draft. But before we get into it, make sure you go down there, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. And if we ever say anything stupid, please feel free to let us know down there in the comment section. And most importantly, if you want to get into some fantasy basketball drafts this year, if you want to draft with us, if you want to go get a 2021 fantasy basketball draft guide at the same time, make sure you go to Underdog Fantasy. You can find that link down in the description of the video. Sign up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, make a $10 deposit, get a max deposit bonus. Also, get the 2021 Fantasy Football Draft Guide by Fantasy News and Brews. All you have to do is send them a confirmation DM on Twitter with the email you signed up for Underdog Fantasy with when you made that deposit with promo code FLOCK. Yeah, get that draft guide. There's a lot of work put into it. I mean, Garrett, you have anything else to add on to that?
It's just we put a lot of work into it, a lot of analysis, and we even put our own rankings. So Johnny has his own rankings on there. I have my own rankings on there. We have a boom list for you. We have a draft strategy guide. We have how the players performed last year. So it's definitely a valuable tool, even if you hate our rankings. It's still nice to have everything organized in one spot. So definitely recommend it.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into our top 5 centers that we're targeting in drafts this year.
Yeah. So just to start it off, we'll go with Sabonis. Sabonis is more of like a power forward center hybrid, but last year he was ranked number 9. He even missed quite a bit of time with injuries, and he still managed a top 10 finish. There's a lot of really loaded teams. Like if we look at the Nets and the Lakers, where a lot of the talents are on numerous teams. So I could see a lot of that limiting those players, and I could see Sabonis hitting another top 10 year. There's no reason why he can't. He's the focal point of the offense. He's a great defender. He's a triple double threat, and he's really durable. Besides for that injury that he had last year, he's been relatively healthy, and he's also super consistent. He's a great guy to have. If we look at our rankings, I have Sabonis ranked a little bit higher than Johnny. Johnny has him ranked at 10. I have him ranked at 17. He has an ADP of 18. There's no reason why he's barring injury. I don't think there's a way he performs worse than his ADP. And I think that part of the reason he's not being drafted higher is just his name. Sabonis is not a household name. And maybe this will be the season he kind of puts his name in the houses. So we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Well, I think I honestly don't even have anything to add into that. I think that was perfect. You want to go and dive into player 2?
Yeah, let's go right next. This is a guy that I'm definitely higher on than Johnny, and that is Clint Capela. He finished 20 last year. Not much has happened to his role. I was really, really, really hoping that John Collins was going to leave the Atlanta team, and if that happened, Capela would have been a top 10 player in my mind in fantasy. I wouldn't draft him in the top 10, but I think that he would have just taken off. That being said, Collins is still on the team. Still love Capela. I think that he, instead of being a massive boom like I was hoping, he's still going to be a pretty good boom. He has an ADP of 36, finished 20 last year. Not much has changed. He's not going to be losing minutes. He's going to have the same role. I don't see any reason why he can't, hit that top 25 level, maybe even finish 20 again. He's a great, great player, super underrated.
And a big thing is also, I hate to bring it up. I know we were talking about points leagues, and yes, in a points league, you can get very excited about Clint Capela. For a category format, however, you at least have to mention that the free throw percentage going to be pretty damn low. Now, the attempts aren't going to be through the roof, so it's not that big of a deal. Also, the 3-point shot literally just isn't there. But for a points league, you're going to be expecting that he can potentially lead the NBA in total rebounds. And if that's going to be the case, obviously, he's fantastic in a points league.
Yeah, and me and Johnny, it's a lot of work to put into these draft guides. So we focused on points league because that is the most common league to play. So anything that I mentioned, it is for a points league. My analysis would be totally different in a categories league. So this is kind of geared towards them. But even in a cat league, I'm still liking Clint Capela at ADP. And obviously his ADP is actually a little bit lower in a categories league. So kind of get a little bit of room to work with there. So next up on my list, I have Kelly Olynyk. So this is going to be a deep sleeper. He is now on the Pistons. He's super versatile. He's on a team that needs scoring, and he's on a team that just drafted a point guard. And the point guard, Cade Cunningham, is going to be facilitating. He's going to be getting a lot of assists. Kelly Olynyk's a great 3-point shooter. I think that he's going to have a tremendous year this year. he's the dream, right? A great offensive player on a bad team. You really can't get more than that. And yeah, I think he's going to have really, really big numbers. You can get him super late in your draft. I mean, there are some leagues where I'm sure he'll go undrafted. He has an ADP of 119. I have him ranked at 89. And I think he's a great guy to stash on your bench. I'm not saying he's going to be a star. I'm not going to say that he's going to be an every week starter, but I'm saying that there is potential that he could reach the level of being an every week starter. So he's someone that I'm throwing on my bench. I'm a biased Pistons fan. I'll be the first person to admit it, but I think he got put into a bad situation, which is a great thing for him.
And then, so how aggressive are you going to be willing to go out there and target him? Like what round are you looking at?
Not at all. I'm not going to be aggressive at all. I'm going to let him fall to me. You know, if I'm in a 12-person team, I'd love to take him in the 10th round, maybe the 9th round if no one else is on the board. But I think that he could potentially turn into a league winner just because you're getting this guy in the 10th round who could potentially finish with a season standing finish of like 50. I mean, last year he finished 50 in his 2021 rankings, and he got put into a better situation. So he could easily turn into an every week starter, which is the dream in the final rounds.
Yeah, I was going to say that's essentially all you're looking for. Knowing how you're going to be churning the roster at the end of the draft anyway, you're just kind of shooting for upside.
Yep. And that's kind of why I want to throw him on here. Obviously, I have a next guy who I think is going to be obviously outperform Kelly Olynyk, or at least we hope. But that is Valanciunas. I probably butchered how you say it, but Valanciunas is on New Orleans. You know, right now he has an ADP of, let's see here, he's an ADP of 62. We have him ranked around 54. He's just an all-around solid player. He's on a new team. I think that new team will help him. Last year he finished 30. I don't see any reason why he can't perform the same on New Orleans. You know, you have Zion that you're competing with for rebounds and stuff. But other than that, I mean, Valanciunas is just such a good player that I'm betting on the player more than the situation.
And this is something I think we kind of talked about in a video previously, but do you think like Zion possibly playing point here helps Valanciunas? Like, can they actually be on the court together?
So it's really tough, right? Because for Valanciunas, you're kind of looking for the rebounds and you're looking for spacing. So if Zion's not in the paint when he's on offense, yeah, that'll help Valanciunas. It'll open stuff up. But at the same time, that will also hurt Zion. So you definitely, in my opinion, you don't want too many New Orleans players. So say you have Ingram and Zion already on your team, I probably would fade Valanciunas. But he's a guy that I like. He's on a team that I kind of want a piece of for fantasy purposes. And, you know, with an ADP right now of 62, I feel like that's a very fair ADP for him. And I wouldn't be mad taking him, you know, a pick or two before then. I'm not going to jump out of my seat to go get Valanciunas, but if he falls to me, I'm going to be happy.
Awesome. Well, let's roll into our next guy.
Next guy and last guy. This is probably the one that will get me the most hate out of all the guys that we've mentioned. I'm okay with it. Johnny hated it. I don't care. This is a gut call. I love James Wiseman this year. I think James Wiseman is going to be a boom. I think that he's going to take a massive step forward, and you don't have to put nearly any capital to get him. Let me pull him up here. Right now, he has an ADP of 165. He's not going to be drafted. This is a guy you could probably get week 1 on your waivers. Don't jump for him. Don't reach for him. But I actually have him ranked 85 right now. He's just 3 spots above Kelly Olynyk, but he also is a much bigger gamble. I still like him. I think that and here's my analysis. I think that the Warriors have a great front office. I think they have a great coach, and they're smart. I think that they just watched Ayton prove himself in the playoffs to be such a great asset that I think that the Warriors are going to try to have Wiseman have a similar role. I think that he'll start being implemented more in the offense, more in the defense. And this is a dude who is young as hell. A lot of people are saying, oh, you know, he's a bust. I think that he just hasn't shown his potential yet. I think that he has loads of potential. You can get him late, if not last round in your draft. And he's just someone to take a shot on. So he is definitely someone who I will be drafting this year at the end of my round. And Johnny won't be, which makes it easier for me. So again, this is just a gut call. We'll see how it goes.
I'll say pretty damn aggressive where you have him right now in your rankings. I'm willing to sign off on the idea of taking him in the last round, just going back to what we said earlier in this video. And then in the last round, literally all you're doing, literally the only thing you were doing in the last round, it doesn't matter what fantasy format you're playing in, is you are just looking for upside, understanding that that player is getting dropped 9 out of 10 times, regardless, whenever we see the first week and looking at the waiver wire, trying to find some exciting pickups here. I mean, you're just going, okay, who is someone that we could see a drastic rise in value? And if that's not going to be the case, then who the hell cares? We're probably going to cut that player anyway. So I'm fine saying, yeah, obviously he has that ceiling. At least we want to believe he has the ceiling. But the probability of the hit is low, but you don't need the probability of the hit being that high.
So I will say this on my rankings as well. I have him ranked above a couple guys that I probably would still draft over Wiseman. I'm not going to draft Wiseman. For example, I'll take Olynyk over Wiseman. If my team's loaded and I'm just like, screw it, I'm going to load up for the playoffs, I would take guys like Clay and Jamal Murray over Wiseman, who I have below in my rankings. But the thing about Wiseman is I have my rankings based on where I think they will finish. I think Wiseman is a sleeper this year. I think he's going to finish higher than apparently 99% of other people will. So this is just a gut call. Don't go drafting him. I have him ranked at 85. Don't go drafting him at 85. Don't be dumb, but keep him on your radar in the final round even.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it. Make sure y'all go use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. Deposit $10 with promo code FLOCK. Get the max deposit bonus. Go get at the same time the 2021 Fantasy Basketball Draft Guide. Make that deposit, then send a DM over on Twitter to Fantasy News and Brews with the email address that you made that deposit with. That way you can get that draft guide ASAP. And drop a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and I think that's all I got. Do you have anything, Garrett?
Nope. Just let me know how dumb I am in the comments and send us that DM so that you can get the draft guide.